and welcome to our Pride Edition and Awards
I'm
episode.
I'm
I've
so
got
excited
some
to be here.
awards for you. I'm so excited to have you both here. So this is an Ask Alex open forum. I'm going to drop the link in because y'all can ask me questions about the quote unquote gay lifestyle. Because I always that phrase always, like, it as a child, it intrigued me. And now as an adult, I'm like, gay lifestyle. Like, is there or is there not a gay lifestyle? And I would say, like, we do all the same things straight people do. I will say, like, there are some cities that we live in that but y'all live here too. So I don't feel like there's anything that gay people do that straight people don't, other than, being homosexual. Like, unless you get down to the boudoir, everything is the same. Like, I will say, like, are some of us more into fitness? Some of y'all are more into fitness. There's a whole bunch of straight people always in the dang gym in our way. Always in our way. So I don't like, it's not like I feel like there should be a secret supermarket or something where it's like we get to eat, different, like we're eating pterodactyl or something.
Hey, Rich.
like the gay
Alex.
lifestyle. It's like, what are we doing? Are we time traveling? It's like we get in relationships just like y'all. We go out just like y'all. We buy, like, everything really is the same. I will say, do we do different things? For even the reasons are the same. Like, we're upset with fitness because we have more options to find a mate, just like y'all. I would say with y'all, it's definitely a little more pair off. And I will say, gay men do like to sample all 31 flavors Baskin Robbins has to offer, but straight men keep sampling through the marriage.
Listen, I was about to say, straight men are still sampling too. They just might not be maybe as honest about it with each partner that's on the spoon. But I have a question, actually. You were saying let's ask questions in the theme of it. This day and age, do you believe that your sexual identity or your, like, social class affect your lifestyle, put in quotes, right, the gay lifestyle, more?
Being gay is expensive. I think that's the proper answer to that question. I feel like being gay, you're gay with other men. I don't know what it is like to be a lesbian. But you're gay with other men. Gay men are the most competitive people I have ever hoped to meet. Rich is just nodding. So I do feel like it is like high school all over again. It is exactly like high school. I am 41. It really is like high school. It's who's going to talk to me if I go to the dance? Like, who am I going to hang out with at Pride? Am I going to hang out with the weird gays or the cool gays? Or do I think the weird gays are the cool? So I will definitely say, like, social capital is something. Like, I have been at parties and I have been at after parties, and I have, like, had somebody say, like, oh, you're Alexander Rodgers, when I was just there as a plus one. Well, it's an after party. Everybody's there as a plus one. But the second people knew, oh, that's Alexander Rodgers, it was, oh, he's somebody, oh, I've seen his, and then it was definitely like, you're treated differently, definitely. So social capital. Hold on. Okay. Social capital is definitely an issue in how you live your gay life. If you, like, height is a factor, race is a factor, features are a factor, how attractive you are. And then Pride is expensive. All the Pride events start at $150 and up. So you better have disposable income and your own apartment, because there's that level of male expectation of you having your own home. Because see, we still got to deal with the patriarchy too. We may benefit from it, but we also are beholden to it. So you still have to have your own apartment. Neighborhoods are definitely judged. Size of apartments are definitely judged. Income is definitely judged. People, like, it's very much, I've had guys say to me like, "Oh, I will never find anybody because I'm poor," and it is an issue. But I also think that's because, I would say, especially in a place like San Francisco, to move in together with a 2-bedroom, y'all kind of have to be successful. And then there's that level of, once you have it, the relationship cannot fall apart, because then your lifestyle falls apart. Because capitalism has eaten at this economy, it's not like you can afford to live on your own healthily. Like, so many couples are real estate brides or real estate husbands, because the cost of living, and when you're gay, you're in a San Francisco or New York, the cost of living starts to get at you, where it's like, look, I need to split the rent with somebody. So yes, I would definitely say social capital and how you look really do affect your gay life, whether you're going to Fire Island and Puerto Vallarta, or you're just hanging out in the city doing a live.
The only relief is that we don't have kids. Like, most people don't have kids, so you can spend your money on yourself.
And gay men
That's
are
it.
successful because, like, you have to keep up. You will get
Yeah.
left behind. And the thing is, either you are the one with money or you are the one with body. Everybody
So
brings
true.
something to the table. The ones with, you see them in the airport, and like you have some that are really cute, but like there's usually it's not a power couple. Usually it's one with money and one with the looks that's much more amenable, because the one with money is usually not the nicest person.
Or the nicest looking.
That's so true.
What's the next question?
Does anybody else have a question, or I can come up with one? Because Alex and I kind of talked about this a little bit before.
Wait, hold on. Let me scroll through the comments to see if anybody put a question. And thank y'all for joining me for this.
Happy Pride, everybody!
Happy Pride.
Yes,
Hope you're
Happy
doing
Pride.
well, Alex. Get well soon.
I wouldn't say that the trolls are rich. I would say that when men are very young, you see that the attractive young men are rewarded and the ugly young men are told to study hard or play well. So that is something where it's very much, as men, we're seeing what is drilled into us. Like, I know my successful friends, and my successful friends only want to hang out with other men that are successful. It is definitely a level of, what do you do?
What
Rich, what do you think about that? Oh wait, go on, Psychic.
I was gonna say, what about the obsession with youth in the community, and why do you think that is? I know it's kind of an obvious question, like we don't all know, but why do you think that is? And then what do you think the state of it is now, and like where it's headed? Because the younger generations, people below us, they're changing all kinds of dynamics. Everything's a spectrum versus a dichotomy of this or that. So let's ask that. The state of youth in the culture.
Being gay is still a young man's game. I'm not saying it's completely a young man's game, but because I was, well, we have the AIDS crisis, which definitely affected like the gym body. And with the gym body came the obsession with youth, because you wanted to look young and healthy and vibrant.
Right,
That means
right.
you didn't have the disease. So
Right.
that became a part of gay culture. And also because men are freer about sex, you're going to bathhouses, your body is more exposed. You know, we talk about bodies, we talk about penises, and so it's like, okay, you may not be able to work on your dick, but you can work on your pecs. You can work on your ass. You can work on your now. You can't work on. You gotta go to a doctor for them tits, but you can work on that. You can squat right at home, get a milk crate, and go to work. So there is that level of you can control, and then competition where it's like, okay, I know that I will be on the meat market. As you get older, that meat market disappears, and then it's like, okay, I better have a stable relationship, which are not always that easy to find. Then there's also the club for gay men is so much of the club, the bar, what have you, is so much of community for us. And like now that it's okay to be gay and we can be out, we have a lot more sports teams, a lot more sober activities, a lot more things to do. But let's be honest, like this is the first generation of gay men in mass in their 50s and 60s, in their 40s. We lost so many. We also never learned how to get old. We never learned how to not Peter Pan.
That's deep. What do you think,
like-
Rish?
Yeah, I would say as someone who's on the receiving end because I'm still in my like mid 20s, I do have friends that are dating people that are like double the age. So I'm like, at one point I also see that there is a lot of fetishization of like younger men, and the younger men, some of them don't have like a dad father figure at home, so they also go and they look for a father figure on the
There,
street.
there's also like that whole gay family dynamic where it's like a lot of gay men will have that older boyfriend that like does treat them well and said like there's a good side to it and there could be a bad side to it too. But there's also like I've dated older men and wanted to only date older men when I was in my 20s. You couldn't beat me off them with a stick. Please, I wanted security. I looked at them. I wanted security. I wanted someone with roots. I wanted someone that was calm. I wanted someone that had lived life. I wanted someone that I could learn from. And so, because there are no, like, you grow up pretending to be straight and then you finally get out into the world and you can be yourself, but you don't know who that is because you've had no examples.
Yeah. So sometimes you do feel the anxiety of like exactly as Alex said, like of not knowing who you're going to grow up into. But he's very right. There are a lot of are cheap nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Now, I'll tell you, I got the last good group because the last good group, they would help you. But I'm sorry, Rich, but go on what you were saying.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. That comment threw me off too.
that was funny.
Yeah, so, that was so funny. Yeah, so as I was saying, yeah, but you know what? Seeing people like Chris and Alex doing their own thing and thriving as gay individuals does really give a lot of comfort to younger people, knowing that there is happiness even if you don't find someone. It might not be the perfect life that a lot of people imagine, where you have a partner. You can be like happy by yourself. So yeah. I will say that it does help be knowing that there is like an older generation of people that are thriving. Like our
And
aunties, we love our aunties.
and my age, we had RuPaul.
Yeah.
And that was really it. Like there was no, unless you had gay people in your family that you were, at that age, hell, that you were allowed to be around, because we taking it back to the 80s and the early 90s. There was no gay in public. There was no example. And then we lost so many to the HIV crisis. That's all that was ever covered. So now,
and being gay could cancel you. Remember, Ellen came out and they said,
I
sit on down.
remember.
They didn't even know she was nasty. They didn't know they were making her sit down for a good reason because she's an awful human being. They just gay bashed her back then.
Is
You know
Ellen
what I
really
mean?
that bad?
There are so many stories going around, and I live in Long Beach adjacent to LA, and like it's like sadly it's like commonly known she's not a nice person.
Wow.
Like even in the industry of people that work in production. So I hate to say it because like I did a monologue of her from her book, My Point, and I do have one in high school for like humorous interpretation on speech team. Like how nerdy is that shit? But like, I want to be like, it just, no, we gotta let that one go. She's a white devil.
Wow. So
Oath
she
We
never
just
really
got, we
she
just
plays it
gotta.
well. She plays it
Oath
well
never
Now,
could
because
exit the closet because of it.
now I have to say, now that I am the older one, um, I have had younger men be interested in me. And it is definitely interesting being on that side of the coin. And I'm like nobody, 26, 27, 30, but it's still like, oh, I'm like, you're 30, I'm 40. Like that is a decade difference. Or you're 26, I'm 38. Like that's like, wow, like you're still very much grown. Very much grown. But I'm like,
Alex, have you ever had an 18 or a 19-year-old hit on you?
when I was in my early 20s, I'm sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not anywhere where they would be.
That's
Are we
fair.
all?
Yeah, I'm
Go ahead,
like,
Air.
I would say, yeah, like 20, like I would date like you if you're over 25, you're grown. You can make your own decisions. And that means you must like me for some reason.
I know this is a pride talk, and we're supposed to talk about the better things about the community. But I will say this, like,
Oh, we
I
can
as
read it too. We can
oh,
read
we can
it
read to
too.
our.
I mean, this is Alexandra Diane Rodgers
It
Come
Shannon.
on now, let's
is,
The one and
read.
only.
but I will
So,
tell you
you
this:
know.
hard drugs are very much, common, and it's very
Mm.
readily available. And there are horror stories too. I had to sit with my friend at the hospital for 5 hours trying to see somebody because his pot got laced with like meth and stuff. So it is like really the line between you, it's very blurry. The line
His
between like
pod?
what's safe.
I was gonna say not
Yeah,
your weed, because
How did
that's
he get that
that.
lace?
yeah, so what he's saying was, and I'm not a smoker or anything, but the guy had some crystals of some kind, and it was called CB, I don't know, D or something. And these crystals had something, and my friend the very next day was not feeling well, and then we got it tested, and he had something called feta. I'm not too sure what's
Actually, Tiny Dancer, I would buy Nikes because men always need shoes. And if you like sneakers, I would get you sneakers. I love a nice flashy pair of sneakers, so I would want that. And I would buy you an Xbox because that means you're gonna have your happy ass at home playing it. Please. An Xbox. I will get you the Xbox and the gaming chair and the screen and the three screens because you're gonna have your happy ass at home playing it.
Play away.
I love a couch boy. Like, hold on. I have my Nintendo Switch right here. I will be playing right along with you.
yeah. So
When I say
drugs
best
are very
fiends, I mean it.
Well, and not only that, but fentanyl poisoning is very scary. Just
yeah.
being, and so in any culture where partying drugs are still prevalent, in my 20s, I danced in LA and a lot of underground raves with, DJ Dan and Donald. You're young, Rich. You don't know those people. But and listen, whenever you're in a drug prevalent scene, like, it's just back then it was still dicey as hell, but now it's like if you don't test your stuff you could literally die. That's the reality, and that's deep.
That is.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why
true.
I enjoy California and its legal herbal relaxifications.
Yeah. And there's a lot of tribalism too, like as Alex was saying. People
Oh,
of a
yes,
certain like
tribalism. That is the perfect word for now. That is the gay lifestyle. The tribalism. It like when you're single, and I think well, it's not even because you don't know whether you're going to be single long term, short term, or end up single. Like I would rather like I've had relationships, but they haven't been like 5 and 8 year. but I would rather be single at this point in my life and never have been married than getting divorced at this point in my life and then like having to reintroduce myself into the world. I already know where the feces are in the toilet so I can swim around it.
Yeah, yeah. So like there are different tribes like twins, bears, whatnot, but that's just physical. Then people stick to, their race too. A lot of times you would go into,
Socioeconomic.
yeah, correct. Yeah. And sometimes you would go to a club and there are, I don't know, in the straight world there's not, I don't think that there is like a Latino club or a black club or a white club, but in the gay scene there are certain clubs that you would know what kind of audience you're going to get over there.
Oh
So it
yeah, that's
depends.
still, yeah. The straight world has that too.
This
Oh
well,
yeah, but
the
early
straight,
bird.
you know, she's right. The straight world does. The straight world definitely does. I mean, look at dress codes. Look at dress code. No sneakers,
Mm.
no do rags, no long tees, no
Well,
night cares with a crisp tee.
yeah, or the style of music you like might have a more specific, audience. You know what I mean? Like it just depends. Some areas can be super mixed, but you can definitely, I think. Well, you know what? I'm gonna shut up because I am so out of touch that maybe these days.
No,
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 we
no.
can
No,
Like
but
here's the thing:
talk.
like, if you bill yourself as a country club, then you know it's going. Like there are some clubs where it's like it's no secret. Don't be shocked when you come in here, and it's this. We're not saying we won't let you. Like if it's a
yeah.
country club, we're like we let black people in here that like country. We got black country singers because it could also be country and blues, but that's what you gonna get, country and blues. Like we're not gonna back that ass up. We're not. If you got like an electro dance club or like a gay bar that's all about pop music, or like when the drag queens take over and it's like it's a night of Whitney versus Cher, it's gonna be Whitney versus Cher, or it's going to be a night of $1,000 summers, like. But that's very different than when you go in and they're like, okay, we see this line is a little bit dark for our preference. Let's turn on some Taylor Swift and see if we can scare
Oh,
some people away.
Yeah. And polyamory is like very much the norm.
that's the
Like
Polly,
new,
no,
every
right?
no, 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 no. Now, poly. Here's the thing: gays are on the forefront of polyamory. We trying to figure it out for everybody because here's the thing: straight people have been doing polyamory forever too. Just one person or two people aren't being honest about it.
Yep.
but they're
So
very much
we
the
just
gays
nipped
are
it in the bud where we like, now look, I already not seen how you look. Gay men, I will say the good thing is, I'm not saying we can't lie to each other, but there's a level of we know each other's bull where it's like, I'm not even going to try.
Well, would you
We don't need to
say?
put the effort in. We don't need to
Would,
put the effort in. And then there's also, I'll say, a level of realisticness to it. I'll never forget, I was in New York and I was hanging out with this guy who was like 47 and I was 24. And he said like he still like he told me he's like, oh, I have a partner, but like we're open, we're not like, and this is before open was a term. He said like he said we're family at this point. Like we've been together, we've broken up, we built a business together, we built a life together. He's out at our house in Fire Island this weekend. I'm here. And so it's like we're not messing up the money, but he said realistically, if you met someone right now at 24 like you want to, can you say that person is going to be the only one you're going to want to have sex with for the rest of your life and them too? Is that realistic? And I
mm,
was like, yeah, no, no. And he said we had some great years together while we were faithful, and then we decided to open up the marriage. And so I feel like if you deal with it as adults, it's better than just cheating. Or let them cheat in peace. But I just feel like we see it happens regardless. So I just rather know what's going on, but that's just me.
well, don't you
Robin Dixon
think,
need to take him.
especially gay men, have really led the way with like open relationships anyway? Even the term, the whole idea of like that's a natural part of our relationship where, not for everyone, but a lot of couples are like, we love each other, we've been together 3-4 years, we're going to open it up because now we need a little sexual diversity, but we're committed and we love each other, right? That's something we're kind of used to, and now we're seeing some of that evolve into thruples and into polycules, right? Like where this is ethical non-monogamy with like maybe more multiple romantic partners versus just open sexually. What do you guys think about that?
Realizing that relationships can come in waves where it's like we're at a level of family now where it may not be as romantic as it used to be, and now I may have much more romantic feelings for this person. We've seen it go wrong, but I've also seen it work with the older set, with like the 47 and up club, where it's like we have things to lose. We're like, there's no point in getting upset. But I also feel like that comes to the patriarchy, and men are taught ownership over women. Men are never taught ownership over men. So that concept can come so much more naturally to us, because also men don't look at women as equals. So it comes much more naturally to us rather than to straight men, where it's like, oh yes, I don't mind, you, because we look at you as an independent where you're sharing yourself. And we're much more open about, having it, like, we've had threesomes together. So like the thought of opening up the marriage for most of us is like, oh, okay. It's not that big of a deal. For some, it is, but for most of us, because we already have lived on the outside of the norm, because, gay marriage got legalized in 2016 where we couldn't even get married, we already have had to live so far outside of the box of defining what our relationship is. It was something that we just decided to include.
You should teach a class, Alex. I'm getting so much knowledge from this tonight.
You really should. I'm gay and how I got educated too, so.
I'm getting you're dropping a lot of knowledge to me tonight.
This vibe reminds me of how we used to talk in the chat on IG Live during the pandemic, Alex.
Sure does.
But
I would say, I think that is one of the good things about the gay community, is that you can be open about what you want and know that there is a community out there that's like, hey, I'm open about wanting this too. And then you can figure what level you want it on.
Yeah, because at least in theory, ethical non-monogamy means that you're like accountable to one another, so that even though you're able to see other people, have encounters with other people, you have to talk to your partner about it and be clear about what you're both okay with. And, look at all the misery that's happening between people, regardless, straight, gay, bi, pan, even asexual people, they're having drama with monogamy. You know what I mean? Where the lies, the betrayal of trust, ultimately, if you take it up to the core issue of cheating and all the things that you do on the sides, it's the betrayal of trust, right? Where it's like, I can't make you my partner because I can't trust that you're not going to ruin the security of the life that I thought we had together.
Right.
Ruin the security of the life I thought we had together. Or I also feel like what makes polygamy go wrong in gay relationships is letting the other partner feel alone in the relationship.
Right.
Feeling like they're being replaced.
That's what straight open relationship.
Right. You can't let the new shiny person
Replaced.
make the existing person feel insecure.
You can't be selfish into it.
Right.
It's got to be, you got to have them on a schedule. You got to have them on a schedule. It's like, okay, I have my and two, if you need a golfing trip every 60 days, set it up where you got your weekend every 60 days where I know you're going on your golfing trip. You're going to Arizona. You may be taking a detour to Miami. And also, you know what, too? Cheat where I know where you are. Cheat where I know where you are. Like, here's the thing. Don't be hiding so much you put your life in jeopardy.
Right? Like, I can't wait. I don't know where he is. His body could be at the bottom of Antigua Bay, or it could be around the corner.
I'll save the friend that's with you too. I won't ask no questions. I'll just be one good human to another. And again, if we can be adults, if this isn't interfering with my relationship, if you ain't bringing home no babies, let it be.
I think that can often be the scary part of a new person coming in. It's like, what's your agenda? What are you coming to? Because, like, let me ask you this. How much do you feel like people using one another for what they can give? I mean, we've been talking a lot about dynamics of how an older person can provide stability, can provide money, can provide whatever, and how younger people can provide beauty, trophy
Excitement.
status, excitement. Also, like we said, it's very much like that trophy status.
Companionship, an
And
interesting companionship,
or
and
agreeability as well.
and social capital, because you go
Right.
in with someone hot and young. Now
Right.
all of a sudden now a lot more people want to talk to you. He can strike up a conversation in ways that you can't.
That's so true.
Hold on, hit me with the question again.
I know, I'm like trying to figure out what he was like, what, well, people using one another in the scene, like, those different
It depends. If can you be honest with each other about it? It's very there are some older gays that know how to do it, but they have their rules. Some of them are upfront with their rules. Some of them like to see what you do. I feel like, but that can also happen in the same age range where you have a connection to get in this bar for free, or you are friends with all the hot guys, or all the cool people. You're in with the in crowd with the regulars. And I have a connection. Maybe I have a real estate connection. I have, I always have some extra food or some extra meat. Like I always have something. I feel like there's a lot. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna say symbiotic. I'm going to say everyone brings something to the table. I feel like if it's using, it goes wrong. People sniff it out, people get tired of it, and people will play along for a while hoping you get better, because they usually kind of hope that you were some kind of friend. Exactly, the yin and yang to the relationship. But I also am like, I've seen the using go wrong. And then two, the friends are reason, season, lifetime. So sometimes it's like y'all are work friends, but you're not quote unquote working together.
Well, I mean, I think that regardless if you're gay or straight, that May December relationship, I mean, we talk about the gold digging that the housewives do. That can either be truly for love, where, you know that your beauty and your youth attracted wealth and a certain security of lifestyle, right? We've seen that situation. And then we've also seen it go horribly awry, where the youth trying to lure a wealthy man who was not trying, we've seen Ashley Darby. We've seen Erica Jane. We've, we've seen the gold digging go awry. So, I mean, and I think that could easily happen regardless. I think that's a universal agreement that could go awry.
Yeah. I definitely feel like gay men have their eyes more open, and they are more willing to pay for a young man's company or a middle-aged man's company.
Or a beautiful man's company.
Exactly. And I would say, I think it's because if they are wealthy, then they understand how the world works, because that's how they got their wealth, unless they inherited it.
Right.
And a lot of them got it out of the paint and started their own businesses. So I would say there's that level of, I know you may not have had the same opportunities, but you're firm and agreeable. And you know, there are a lot of gay men that know how to be agreeable for a living, that are like, look, you provide, I provide. You want someone that's going to be agreeable, that's going to be fun, that's going to be the life of the party that you've always wanted to date. I'll do that. Just keep my ass in Gucci and gold.
Right.
Mentorship is what
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
my problem. I'm soft and argumentative.
Same.
Yep. I can't tell you what a straight man would want. Like,
No,
and then
firm and
also gay
agreeable
men,
sounds about right.
and I will also say like male intimacy and male partnership is so much different.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things that we won't argue about, and there's a lot of things that we will.
What
Um,
it seems like there's a little bit more of like your two men are more willing to agree about the harsh reality of things. Of like,
yes.
and that it's not like it's not emotionally as painful. It just is what it is.
There with not with all, but I definitely feel
Sure.
like as we age, and two, like because of, you know, what we went through, either as obvious gay children or having to come out and deal with losing people because of that, and how the world will always look at us, you know, either if you're obviously gay, how you're immediately perceived, or if you have to let people know, or if they find out and then how they turn their back on you. It's something that definitely changes your opinion of life. So you're like, okay, like I've dealt with worse. I'm not going to argue with you about this.
Yeah. It's like a life of thousand coming outs because whenever you get with like a new group of people or you start a new job, it's like you've always got to check the water a little bit before you can be your fabulous self, because not all workspaces might be conducive to you being yourself and stuff like that. So yeah, that's true.
That's
Always
that's
got to be
profound what you
careful.
said right there. A thousand coming out and like
I agree.
that's profound.
Yeah, 1,000 coming outs, 1,000 testing the waters,
Oh.
the exhaustion of that. And this is why, like, now I would say this is something that could be the gay lifestyle. This is why I've lived in New York for 12 years, and I've lived here for going on 4. I've spent the past 16 years of my life in a gay bubble. I've spent a fortune. Like, I would own my own home if I, you know, didn't live here. But I don't want to know what it's like to live in America. I like living in the District of New York or the District of San Francisco, because I know I can walk down the street as my fabulous self. I can, you know, there are enough gay establishments that I can go into where I'm like, I don't go to straight establishments unless it's like a restaurant.
That's the premium that you pay, because a lot of my friends, they make decent money, but well, I live in Toronto, and Sanya time is nowhere to be found still. But here it's like it's you've got to live in the city. The gay life is pretty much like a city girl life. You've got to be in the city, in downtown, where you're closer to the scene. You cannot live in the suburbs. I mean, there are plenty of people that do it and are happy, but you'll
The
just be
ones
missing
that
out on
do it have
community.
boyfriends.
Correct. Yes.
The ones that are exactly, you can move, like I could move to Oakland if I had a man. I could move to Vegas if I had a man. And those places are very bring your own husband. So you ain't got to worry about him cheating, because ain't nobody there. There's nobody there for him to cheat with. You got to bring your own man.
Yes.
I didn't
So
even
no,
think about that.
he is
That's
so, you were so right. And that's part of the competition and the testosterone, and you have to be successful. You have to be successful to have your, and then if you're in the city and you don't have your own apartment, you are written off. Having a roommate is like, I'm trying to think, I'm trying to think of something appropriate to say. Nothing's coming to mind. But it's bad. Like, It's bad. It's bad. And the thing is, it's not that it's bad. If you're making a smart financial decision for you, that's good. But the problem is, the second somebody hears roommate, you're written off.
Yes,
They
it's
are
so
not interested anymore. You have to have your own apartment in the city. And so basically, like what it is a credit check without a credit check. It's
mm-hmm.
like what I would say, I live on 16th and Dolores. And the people would say, by yourself? Yes,
And then
I have a one
everything perks up
bedroom.
a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And then, yes, I have a one bedroom overlooking the pool. Oh, really? You have a pool? And it's like, and then all of a sudden you're worth talking to.
Yeah, and it's so sad because this is a marginalized community, but they persecute each other based on these things, like how fat you are, or if you have a disability or something. Like you would really not feel the rainbow if you're disabled or if you're on hard times. People will abandon you. I've been there multiple times myself, especially during the pandemic. It was so hard. But yeah, and there are compassionate corners too in the community, I won't lie, and gives you a sense of security, but there are like the vast majority, it's like very much as Alex says, it's like mean girl behavior, and it's not even cute because yeah, it just makes us all look bad. Just really.
It's at 41. It is exhausting seeing people that are 48 and 53 act like this. And like I have one acquaintance who's like in his 50s and he's gone through a divorce and that's been financially taxing on him, but like now he's lost a bunch of friends because of the divorce, because it's like who's going with
That
who.
happens because the stuff happens.
And it's like instead of this friend group being like, okay, look, you two are having a hard time, we're going to be supportive of everybody, and him being able to find other friends, it's gotten very messy, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'm not involved. Let's see, Yellowwood said, I can't date until I find a new house. It's that serious. 100%.
It's so true.
100%. It's very much, if your apartment isn't nice and in the right area, there's a high level of judgment. There is a high level of judgment. Like part of why I got that apartment on 16th and Dolores, because I was like, I want to see what it is to have an address that no one can judge. Because I used to live in Harlem when I lived in New York, and I saw people's reactions. And I always said, one day I will have an apartment in a really nice neighborhood in a high-rise building. And I paid the premium for it. And I will say it definitely opened doors and conversations that race would have closed, because then it was also a socioeconomic indicator.
And there's also another thing. I don't know. This all right. I'll just say because it's not better to talk about these things. But with straight people, it's like unless you enjoy a little bit of pegging or whatnot, it's usually you know your role in the bedroom. In the gay world, it's like with tops and bottoms and versatile people. There's always when you're dating someone, you also look for sexual compatibility. And most
Ooh,
like
oh
straight people would
my
not be like
God.
into.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Now that is a good ass point. I completely
No
glossed
pun
over that.
intended.
That is so, oh my God. Oh my God. That is such a good point. And then also it's not just what you are, it's what you bring out of them. Because I will have some guys that will bring the top out of me. I will have some guys that will bring the verse out of me. I will have some guys that bring the side out of me.
Can I ask a really straight question? Like in that
Yes.
sense, yeah, as a straight like person, like in yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Is what it Where do you think that inherent desire comes from? Because in the sameness, there is still a power dynamic. and it seems to be instinctual, right? Like, what do you,
Um,
or not, or tell me, like, what is
you
that?
know, I will say with me, okay, like
Just
like
curious
I
to
will
know
say it's
more.
the shorter, twinkier guys bring out the top in me because I'm like, I am a foot taller than you. You are tiny. You want me to wrap you up in my arms. So yes, I would definitely say the smaller guys bring out the top in me. And then when it's a guy like my size, like I'm looking him dead in the eye. I'm like, oh wow, you can dominate me. You can be stronger than me. So then I want a bottom. So I would say with me, it's that I feel like with some guys, it's the opposite, where they're like, oh no, I like the tiny guy will want to top me. And I'm like, child, I'm fine with that too. But I've definitely had the little Napoleons, I call them. The little
They
Napoleons.
are, listen, you know, I'm 5'10" as a woman. You know, anytime I've dated way shorter, bossy little fucks.
Exactly, little Napoleons.
Yes.
And then I'm the Jolly Green Giant, so I'm like, okay,
Right?
I
Yeah.
see why you like me.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And, you know, if you want to play with that dynamic, you know, sometimes that's like the option to take. But other times it leaves you, I get it, leaves you wanting, you know, like my child's father's 6'4". So, you know, both things I think.
Exactly. You can swoon. He can take you in your arms, and you know he can wrap one arm around your waist, and you're like, oh my goodness, my sir.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I will definitely say the sexual compatibility, and then also sexual compatibility like moves differently as the relationship. Like if y'all are long term. Hell, if y'all are long-term fuck buddies, y'all will eventually flip over for the most part. Like he may top you for a year. At the 18-month mark, he's gonna ask you to stick it in. And then he's gonna get verse on you for a while. Then he may enter his bottom era. Men have top eras, men have bottom eras. I've had both. And then they have verse eras. And then they have side eras too, where they're like, you know what, I'm not into penetration, but I'm into everything else.
Right. I think that trend needs to drip more into the hetero world. It would keep pregnancy out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess we do. We kind of have the market cornered on keeping pregnancy out of it.
Have you ever encountered someone you wasn't attracted to?
Wait, what?
No, have
All
you
the
ever
time.
encountered somebody that you wasn't attracted to?
Have I ever encountered someone I wasn't attracted to?
Yeah, like would
Every
you
day, all the time.
No, I'm saying as far as like have a relationship with someone
Yeah, I see what you mean
you were
now.
really attracted to, but as long as they were like
Oh,
nice.
okay.
Mm.
Has the
It's
sex
the great
not worked?
personality question that like
Okay.
everybody
Yes,
like
yes,
they're great, but like everything but I don't
yes,
want to. I don't
yes.
want to do it. Okay,
Um,
clarified.
because I was just like, I don't.
Yeah,
Thank
I,
you for clarifying that.
it's
I've
okay. We got
always,
you there.
I've had those moments, but I've always said like, I don't love you enough, and you need to be with someone that loves you enough. And if
Yeah,
that's not me, I don't
Honest.
want to waste your time.
yeah,
Yeah,
I hear
because
that.
it feels very bad to be somebody's charity case.
It's
I
not a
It's
think
charity case. It's not a charity case. It didn't work out. You tried the shoe on. That's the thing about like there's no foul in that. There you tried the relationship on. It didn't work out. Sometimes you're on that end, sometimes they're on that end. So when it happens with you, you're not a charity case. It didn't work out. So when it happens with them, it's the same thing. It just didn't work out.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because sometimes that first night will be amazing. And then the second night, you're like, I don't remember that. Or, oh, this is different than the last time.
you know, for
Where
me,
did that come from? And where is that going?
every time like I've tried to push back by past being not attracted to someone that I thought was really great every other way, I eventually snap and like almost ghost them because I'm all like, you know. But I also am attracted to a-holes. So that doesn't
Right.
necessarily work for me either. So, you know, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I should just keep myself out of the mix in general. But I do believe ultimately, for me personally, that I can't overcome that. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
there's something in me that like really loves you, you're friend zoned and you need to stay there, because I'm just not someone that can do that. I do know people that can, and I appreciate that, because I do think like ultimately long-term relationships are built a lot of companionship. But I don't want to
You
fuck you, so
know,
we just friends.
also, it depends on if you're a sexual person.
Right?
That's
Because
so
there's a
true.
lot of people out there. A
Right?
lot of people. Way more than they let on. Way more. There's a lot of people out there that chow once a quarter, twice a year. They good. And
Right.
so if you can, I can hit it twice a year. That works for them. How many marriages have we heard where that's what it is? So I feel like if you ain't a sexual like that's something that people need to talk about. Like, how often
Mhm.
do you expect it?
Right.
Daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, biannual, annual?
When you buy me something,
And when you buy me something.
yeah.
Although
So
in this economy, that mortgage is a gift.
A movie ticket entitles you at this point. Shoot.
so true.
Oh my God! Yeah, it used to be. You took me to a movie and bought some popcorn, and now it's like, okay, let me take these pants off. It's like I ain't even gonna hold you. I wanted to see and dinner. Shit,
Oh,
I'm taking my panties off before the movie.
it's like you better. Yeah. Contractually agreed before you show. There's a $200 limit, and then you're all, it's like put down the deposit and you know what you're gonna get, because the evening will entitle. It's really nuts. Yeah.
Um, and I will definitely say like not gay dating. Somebody say something.
Well, you said gay dating, and we were waiting for a little,
I thought you were getting ready to say something.
yeah, a little pearl of wisdom.
Oh,
But dating, yeah,
gay
gay
dating.
dating, the straight people are silent too, because dating, silence,
Gay dating does happen at 2x
a
speed. It
death,
happens really
a
fast.
wasteland.
It's rough.
And it happens really fast. Like there is like I'm telling you, gay relationships also do not last sometimes as long as straight relations do. But I will say this that it's like you meet somebody, you're talking, you like each other, y'all have sex, but even before sometimes before you start liking each other. And then slowly you figure out. So yeah, I'll just say it's like super fast.
Gay relationships. I will say they make fun of lesbians for having a U-Haul on the second date, but
First,
You all.
I'm
gay
surprised.
men. And I will say, oddly enough, the most successful stories I've heard of gay relationships are when it's like, oh yeah, I started dating someone and he moved in on the third date the third month because we just didn't want to be apart. And like, it's very much like, boom, that's my person. That was it. It wasn't like, oh, I
Right.
was seeing other people. Like when Angela Bassett talks about meeting Courtney B. Van, she's like, nah, I didn't like him at first that much. It took a while. With gay men, oh, that will never fucking happen. You better fall in love in that first 15 seconds or forget about it.
So true.
There is something where it's like it's got to be that immediate or it's we don't like. I'm not saying we won't work at it, but there is that we've got to have that instant that kismet.
I will say, hearing so many stories of two gay men that were like, we met at the bar and we took each other home and then he never left. That hope kept me slutty for a long time. you know. But but that doesn't necessarily translate, you know. There's still, I think, a strange double standard about that, where, you know, when you're dating and like someone's trying to hit it immediately, so they're trying to pursue you and you're supposed to deny them, because if you're interested too and they're pursuing you and you give in too soon, all of a sudden you've been written off into a certain category, right? That's just wild, because it's like, okay, so I'm supposed to actually rebuff you, and I do understand it's that age old, men want the chase, like, you know, I understand certain dynamics totally exist. But obviously, when we're talking about the differences, that doesn't necessarily exist in your world, right? Like that, you know, the chase, the hunt, the blah, you know, all of that's like, that is a problem. Like, next, nope. If you're gonna make it hard
there,
to hit, then I'll see you later.
yeah, there's a level of
Should have been a gay man. No, I'm just kidding.
there's a level of I don't want to say you have to be easy. You have to be available and accessible. If
Right.
you're not, we assume it's true disinterest. We're not going to keep going after you because it's like, oh, okay, you're not interested. Let me focus on somebody that is. So I would say that you have to be available and accessible, or it's not going to work. And that's what happens when you're both like, oh.
Well, it also seems like you're not devaluing a person that is accessible. Whereas, like, in certain, like, traditional straight situations, if someone's pursuing and you're accessible too quickly, then you're a hoe, and you get relegated to a certain level of treatment.
There is also that. There is that rule of the hookup. Don't go back for seconds. If you go back for seconds, you're staying for keeps. But then you could just end up hookup buddies. It depends on what you tolerate. Do you tolerate somebody that you just have sex with and no conversation? Which is also why I got a lot of guys on hookups are no conversation, no small talk, because they don't want to get hooked.
Also, another part of the gay life is like having to navigate, which are, I don't know, sometimes your straight friends, they say stuff or they do stuff where you're like, you constantly feel like you have to, I don't know, like check them or not check them. I don't know. But it's like it's a very politicized identity to have for a fact. Like anytime someone says something homophobic or something, a lot of times your straight friends might not speak up for it, but you will. And you know, that's always a root of like contention that can happen. Also, if you have friends that are also gay, you can just be friends with them, but you know, it's such a people look at you so sexually that they will be thinking that you're always like, you know, messing
And
around.
that can be difficult too when you're trying to go out and meet people and then people think you're with your friend.
Exactly. And there was something
I've
else.
definitely I've definitely had that. I mean, hell, people thought me and Chris were together for freaking years.
I did too. I won't lie.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember if I thought you guys were together when I first saw Pop Roast. That's such an interesting little twist. I don't think I did.
I never thought that.
I thought that they
We
had
got
great
more than enough
chemistry.
comments.
They do.
Everybody
It's
was like,
undeniable.
"That's your man." Alex got him. Karen thought we were together when we were at
Well,
freaking BravoCon, and we just laughed. It's just like,
well, you
girl,
are a striking duo. I mean, that's undeniable.
Yeah.
You're both good-looking, tall black men. It's very undeniable. So,
And
And
Karen
you
is in her cups a lot of times. So
oh,
and Alex, you guys were doing pot roast before Chris started his channel, right?
yes.
yes.
Yeah, I think that's how I started watching Chris's channel as well.
and there are awkward moments too, like when you're gay, where your friends. Oh, this is another thing, which is so great. Anytime your straight friends knows another guy who is single and gay, they would always try to hook you up with them. They will not respect your opinion, your taste. They're like, just go with them.
You're muted, Alex. We can't hear you.
Okay.
Alex, we can't hear you.
We couldn't hear you, Alex.
Oh God. Oh God. I'm so sorry.
I
I
can
guess
tell by
my
your face it was good, but we didn't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying I am so tired of that because I'm like, check and see, is he a top? Does he rent or own? How much does he make after taxes? How much is he willing to spend on me? Has he lived with a man before, or does he want to live on his own? How close is he to his nieces and nephews? Am I going to be picking up toys in this house? Does he have children? Does he have an ex-wife or an ex-husband? And how much do they charge him per month? I need to know.
As a gay guy, there's always this. I won't say like, well, I'm fine with whoever, but bisexuals always have, from what I hear with my friends that are bisexual, they always have like a tough time. I don't know, all bisexual guys that are in my neck of the woods, they all have kids, and I'm like, what is actually going on? And it's just very. I don't know what to say about it, but yeah, bisexuals do have a very different place and like a different experience.
They do, and what it is, I think, it really comes down to fear, and it really comes down to, I would say it's like both fearing of being left for someone else, and I feel like for straight women, it's I can't trust you with your guy friends. Like I know if you're just hanging out with guys, I don't have to worry. And it's not so much that they're worried about not him, but other women. Because they know women can be hateful and spiteful,
Yes, they
conniving
can.
and cruel. And they'll sleep with your man just to mess with your relationship. That's
Yes,
the beauty of men. We'll be like, oh, you want to bomb? Go on and sit on him. Hell, I'll join you. There's no power there with us. With women, I'll sleep with your man. Like they'll weave their whip. Like the heifer will have met you once. You've never been rude. You told the heifer where you got your dress. And she's like, I'm gonna fuck her man. I'm gonna drive away. I'm gonna fuck her man. And will show up at a boys' night. So that's but that's the thing y'all gotta worry about.
With us, it's a bit different. It's like, are you gonna get up and leave to have a kid or settle down with a woman? A
That
bisexual
we
thing.
have to worry about you leaving not us, but leaving us for a different lifestyle, for an easier lifestyle. I've got to worry about you leaving me, not because you don't love me, but because maybe your parents will put you in the will if you get with this woman and get them a grandchild, or because you can't take the looks that we get walking down the street or at the grocery store, and you can't imagine your life like that, always having to make major decisions like your real estate purchases on, is this building gay friendly? And also, gay men can be really awful, where I can see some bisexual men being like, I don't know if this is my community. Because I would say that would like, now I'm like, I would say now in 2024, like if you leaving me, you just leaving me. I've had wonderful relationships with bisexuals, and quiet as it's kept, some of the best, because there's a level of I'm more accepting of this than maybe your girlfriends are.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so funny you brought that up, Rich, because that was going to be a natural question for me, was asking you guys how you felt about bisexual people, but we've just tumbled into it because I think um, especially Rich. I'm 45, so I'm in Alex's age range, but I think even younger than you, Rich, it's not a binary anymore; it's a spectrum.
It's not. Wait, hold on.
No.
DJ Vamp says some say. So I would say this. That was my generation. That was Psychic's generation. That was that's the 40 plus when men couldn't accept it. Now there are a lot of men also saying, no, I am truly bisexual. I know I've dated them. I've met their girlfriends where I'm like, oh, you dated her for 2 or 3 years. You live in San Francisco. If you wanted to be out, you would be out. You have a plethora of gay friends. Your parents are cool with them. Your dad is gay. Like it's you now we're now in a world where people are like, no, I'm bisexual or I'm fluid or I want to identify as I identify. And especially in California, these straight men will tell you like, after 2 drinks, they're like, I'm more bi than anything.
Yeah. I do think society keeps a lot of people from being gay, and I know a lot of people that are actually might have a little rainbow in them, but the place that they live or their upbringing, which is fine too, because it's a process for a lot of people to come to acceptance. But yeah, that's so true. Like, look at a lot of housewives, and I see a lot of lesbians over there. They're like in the process.
I
That's
think
so
it's almost
true.
proof that bi and well, honestly, I think it's truly personally a spectrum with so many different shades of gray. Like literally, like if one extreme can exist, how can it not be like nuanced as well? Just like there's like a spectrum of so many different things, right? And I think that, part of society we have this like good, bad, black, white, man, woman, anything that is not the binary our culture is still struggling to understand and figure out.
But
Because
sometimes you got titties at the top and dick at the bottom.
P.S. Medicine.
So
Enjoy her. And Craig.
I will
Funny.
definitely say, living in California, I've encountered way more openly bisexual men where it's like they'll say I'm bisexual in a bar in front of women, in front of a woman that they're interested in. They'll be like, look, both y'all can find it out of me. Like they have that attitude out here. So it's when it's not a secret, when it's not, I may want an out, it's a proud lifestyle, it's very different. Then it's just really the best person will win.
And then
And they may not be looking for a relationship, so you may be Thursday, she may be Friday.
and also too, there's another question that leads me into a question I have because it's like I don't want to disrespect by leaving it out, but I also want to be respectful as an ally treading in the gracious waters that we're in. How does transness affect some of these dynamics? Because they are separate, but they are combined. Do you know what I mean? And
They are, I will definitely say, oh Lord, well,
I mean, we can
we're gonna talk.
respectfully
We're gonna
decline to get
talk.
too complex.
Passing is a huge part of it. Trans is still, like, we'll be honest, trans is still getting accepted even to in our own community. We are
That's
making
true.
space for it. We are still working on it. We like having lived in New York and San Francisco, I can't talk to it because this is where they all come. This is where they are treated fairly and equally, and I have trans friends.
Right.
So where here it's very normal to be trans, and you see trans people on the street, and you have trans neighbors, and it's. I know that this is only something you experience in a New York or a San Francisco versus the rest of America. But I will also say, even here, you see where the clockable girls go, and you see where the non-clockable girls go, and you see how the non-clockable girls are treated and celebrated, and they love when they let you know. And the same with trans men. Now, I will say with trans men, it's a lot. Their transition is a lot as far physically. I'm not saying mentally or anything like that, but as far as passability, it is a lot easier
Easier.
for a face to masculinize than to
Correct.
feminize. Because like there are some men where it's like, if I wanted to be trans, I would be like, even though I could probably serve some face, I could probably serve a RuPaul drag, I could get it beat. But
Yes.
let's be real. It would be a drag beat. I would be clockable. These hands, these Nene Leaks ass hands, these feet, these
Oh, that's a
size
foot.
14, clock, 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 tick, tock,
You would be fierce.
tick, tock. But my 6'4", you would, and then I would want to put on a heel, so I'd be hitting it. But But I say that to say how transness plays into that is, well, one, you do have like that's now, then you this gets into these more specialized gay community category because you have the trans girls. The trans girls get more bi or straight identified men. A lot of trans girls will get men that are straight identified. They will be their boyfriends, they will live together. Now we're starting to get more men that are like, I date trans girls, but I'm also straight or I'm also bi. But because they are in gay spaces but looking for straight men and we're not looking for them, they're not looking for us, it's a different dichotomy because we're not in relation with each other in that way. With trans men, because they can like they get that testosterone, and whether they've had bottom surgery, sometimes they don't even have to have the top surgery, and the breasts have deflated, the chest, the muscles have come in. So when you are much less clockable, where it's like, oh, you took your shot, I had no idea. It's very different because you're treated as one until you say something, and because we're like, oh, we're never going to tell anybody's tea. It's something that nobody knows unless you're public about it. And then if you're public about it, you're usually public about it with people that you know that are cool. And again, we're in San Francisco, so you have that community here.
Also, another thing that women might not get is like in a gay group of friends, if you're all like of one orientation, let's say all bottoms, all tops, it's like a musical chair of guys. Like everyone that you've been
Yeah,
with, your friend has been
yeah,
with.
yeah.
And it's like,
You get around to dating each other's exes, and
yes.
then the hookups. It's like, oh, I slept with that guy too, and it's like it's not a big deal because it's like, oh, I slept with him 2 years ago. Oh, I slept with him when I first moved here. It's like a rite of passage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
there
was
are
a
definitely those guys that are like, right, it's a
Oh,
pass.
I entered a new friend group and I ended up hooking up with this guy that looked like Edward Norton, a poor man's Edward Norton. And then I found out in the group of friends that he was called
Ooh.
Uncle Reliable because
Yup,
because he would hit it with whoever. And I'm like, nobody let me
Miss
know about Uncle
Miss.
Reliable before.
He was Mr. Pussy from Sex in the City.
Yes,
I will also say this about trans men. Because they are still men, gay men are still attracted to trans men, whether or not they've had bottom surgery. And a lot of them don't have phalloplasty. So even though they have vaginas, there are a lot of gay men that are like, you're still a man, I'm still attracted.
Right.
So because of that, there's a level of, I'm not going to say not treated different, but because they have a larger specialized community, they do well. They do well. Like a pretty trans girl will do well because it's like you have something that a lot more people want than the world wants to let on. So you'll do fine. You just know where to market yourself. So I would say I kind of feel like it's that with trans men that like do hang out in gay bars that like trans men, but also we're talking about trans men that like gay men, because the trans men that like women, guess where they're not? They're not in gay bars.
Gay
They're in
bars.
straight bars because they like women.
Yeah.
So the trans men that like men, that's a different, smaller subcategory. So I would say there's just not enough of them to go around.
Wow.
We get into it today.
I'm so intrigued.
What's your question, hon?
How about, what do you think about gay representation on Bravo?
Oh God. I think that that it's quite fitting that it shows what gay representation in America is post Will and Grace. I let's see. We don't have. Let's see. We've got Andy at the head. And it's interesting. And the thing is, will I be mad at him for not introducing more gay programming? No, because he has a network to run and he needs to be good at his job. And the American public ain't gonna watch it like that. And the truth is, sissies don't support sissy shows. My audience is 85% straight Black women. And thank you, and Aaron. And thank you, God. And Colleen from Australia. And then I have 15% gay men, and I love y'all too. But let's be real. Where is my bread butter? Why don't other gay men know who I am? They just choose not to watch. I can't tell you why that is, but they choose not to watch. So we don't support our own. So I can say that's why we don't have gay representation on Bravo, because the sissies won't watch it. It took everything for us to keep Drag Race on the air. Everything.
What about Shahs of Sunset?
That was probably the most gay representation we had, and I will say of color, which shocking. But that's the most that, because the thing is, it's not Bravo. We can't blame Bravo for this. It's America that's watching. Bravo would happily hire an all-gay cast if they knew people would watch and they would make money, but they can't throw good money after bad.
That's so true. And if you guys remember, when Atlanta took off, what was the first thing that they did? They got rid of Derek J, and they got rid of Miss Lawrence, and Dwight. And these were people that were very much included in the storylines too.
Sorry, Rish. Go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, but these were not accessorizing gay people. These were people that had their own voice, that knew these women more than some of the other
more
friends.
Than the cast that were actually a part of their lives.
Correct. And when Bravo had to go mainstream, they threw these people under the bus. They were never heard from again. Brandon was brought in for a melee, and then he retired too. And since then, we've been looking at gay men that are just feisty, spicy, and for one episode. So yeah, that's what a lot of network television does. The only exception I will say, and I'm so happy for their success, even though it's a bit problematic sometimes, is RuPaul's Drag Race. That has turned into a cultural moment, and I'm so happy for its success. But yeah, I miss Derek. Yeah, somebody commented that too. Yeah, I miss Lawrence and Derek J too, because they were so good.
And remember, they teased us with Candy and the Gang.
Well, no, we didn't. I don't think they had the numbers. Like, their numbers were good, but they weren't good enough. Like, we as Black people, and I'll say this about the Black Bravo shows, we're picky as fuck because I cover. Now, I can speak to it because I watch all of them. You can go back in my channel and look at the reviews.
Yeah, I saw all your reviews on Candy and the Gang.
I did Candy and the Gang. Before that, I did Southern Charm New Orleans. I did Blood, Sweat, and Heels. Now, Blood, Sweat, and Heels got canceled because they knucked and they bucked on that show.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I too have a dog. I have a husky named Tinkerbell. So if you hear her,
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to beat this cold. But
let it out, Alex.
That, like, Blood, Sweat, and Heels, that was our fault. Southern Charm New Orleans, we got it for a second season. We didn't watch enough. Summer House Martha's Vineyard, we didn't watch enough. Like, we have to give Housewives of Atlanta, Housewives of Potomac ratings, or they ain't gonna keep it on the air.
That's true. And Andy cannot. And I don't think Andy will fight for a gay show either. He fights for the money. He won't fight for a gay show.
He fights for the money, and I just don't think that, unless it's a RuPaul's Drag Race, that a gay audience would consistently tune in and give the numbers. And also, we have to say this, and this is something that's going to shock you. And well, I don't know, it won't shock you, but it'll disappoint you. Black ads sell less than white ads do. So, like, and gay ads sell less than straight ads do because, like, if you have a show that's a black show, there are certain advertisers that just aren't going to touch it. Or they're going to say, oh, we'll put one of our urban ads on it, but we only have this much of a spend budget for that. If you can't meet that, then we can't help you. And because we don't have strong multi-billion-dollar black corporations, because of the way the world has been set up, we don't always have the option to not go with big budget advertisers that pay for shows. Same thing with gay shows. Now, you think they won't touch a black show? Oh, a whole bunch of advertisers won't touch a gay show. But then you've got advertisers like, Boy Butter and, like, the fringe advertisers that have money, but then you're like, okay, we're network. Can we air this? What time can we air this at? And that's where things get tricky and dicey, which is why it's taken so much for RuPaul to become such a big success. Like, that's why the show is sponsored by Cash App. Guess who uses Cash App? Black people, gay people, the disenfranchised, people who get paid in tips. Lots of, like, they know who their market is. So that is another problem, that black shows don't get, like, for example, like the Capital One sponsorship that 30 Rock got, that kept that show on the air. Notice how everybody on 30 Rock was doing Capital One ads, because Capital One was like, oh, we're going to advertise hard for this show. We're going to be product placement and we're going to use the ad. Yeah, they're not doing that for black shows, which makes it more difficult to keep them on the air. It's about the big sponsorship game. That's also why Toni Braxton went bankrupt. You see, most times when an artist will go to Las Vegas, their show will be sponsored by somebody like Revlon, AT&T, Verizon, like anybody. But Toni put it on herself, and so when she got sick, she had to pay all that money out of pocket herself rather than having a sponsor that would have covered it.
And that's what a lot of the black drag queens on the show always say, that they are not being given those opportunities. Like, we had a talk about it on one of Alex's Patreon. It's about Trixie Mattel versus another black queen of similar caliber. Trixie is the second richest drag queen after RuPaul. So yeah, there is definitely a lack opportunity. Also, there is another thing in the gay culture, which is like the underbelly of the gay culture, is gay Republicans. And
Well,
you would
wait,
think that's
before
a
we get to that, we got to talk about Trixie. Trixie had, like, I have to like, Trixie, like, there is a level of Trixie knew how to put, like, Trixie made a lot of money from that tour and a lot of money from writing her own songs. Like, the album did well, but also she's toured. But when you tour, like, instead of doing those World of Wonder tours, she was touring with her own music. And also doing it very simply. She did it damn near stand-up style, where it was just her and a guitar, right? Wait, Rish.
Yes. I mean,
Wait.
I can
Yeah, sure.
confirm that question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So she didn't have to pay it, like, and also I know this as a comedian, so she didn't have to pay a band. Her touring costs were very little. That is how she made that money. She was like, if I'm going to do drag, I'm going to get, like, I'm not doing club shows. I'm not doing that. I'm not splitting my money with these other girls. I'm not doing that. That's how she made that money. That's how she made the money she was able to spend on that house. And then also she bought that hotel and sold the experience with her.
Yep.
And that was also really smart. But to your point, she has a lot of 40 plus white gay fans that have the expendable income to support this.
Yeah. She's smart. She's very smart, but she also had a neck up in life. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy for everyone's success, really. If they're not
She
harming
didn't have a
anyone, like,
leg up
why
in
not?
life. She got on Drag
But
Race
yeah,
and made
can we not
something
talk
of it.
about gay Republicans too? Because that's something that, especially this year, is all the more pertinent with the election coming up. and I'm seeing their ugly heads rear yet again, and they're on my timeline always talking about this, talking about that, supporting Trump, while Trump will not support you guys. You're out here supporting Trump. And it's like such a stupid oxymoron to be a gay Republican. I mean,
I
you can
don't
have different
care about
political
suffering
opinions.
fools.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of that crazy debate the other night?
It was depressing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, somebody asked me about that yesterday, and like, honestly, what I want to say is, regardless, it was really depressing. Like the I know whatever, but the whole thing, no matter what side
I
you're on, and
honestly
no matter
feel
how
like
you feel,
it would be a hoot if for some reason they weren't able to participate. I mean, they so old. I feel like what if age, just good old fashioned age, takes both of them out the damn election? Tomorrow's promised to nobody, and
I
y'all
know
are both at the end of your ticker.
it's just
Wouldn't that be such a
so.
hoot?
Like,
It's
he's
two
that
Muppets on
orange
the
Cheeto
stage.
looking
It's
jerk.
just so bad. Two Muppets on the stage. It's scary that we're here at this place with these options,
Yes.
right? That's what we can agree, no matter what we feel, is that it is so scary to be here with these two options.
Oh, that orange Cheeto head. He was such a freaking liar, though. He's such an ass.
Yeah, he just keeps on lying. Like
He's such a
it's funny
fucking
I
that, but
feel
liar.
like
it's
we're
not. But
in the
it's
absurd now. I do. I feel like we're in the absurd now. Because like we have, a reality TV star and a man who's freezing like Mitch McConnell, like
Well, hold on now. Speaking of the
You
absurd,
there we
we
go.
have to get to tonight's awards.
Oh,
The
wait a minute.
Sorry Sissy
Wait,
Award.
I'm sorry, Alex. Before you get to the awards, is it me or I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with In Living Color, but Biden was giving me a Fire Marshal Bill T.
You're
A
not
little,
wrong. Let me tell you
a
something.
little.
You're not wrong.
But the
The
Sorry
awards.
Sissy Awards. Now, first off, we have our Glass Closet Award, and our nominees are Rob the Throb Dixon, Kyle Tattoo Richards, Sheree Whitfield, and Drew Sidora. Now, I want everyone to vote. Who do you think deserves the Glass Closet Award? The Glass Closet. I'd love to see
Although you got me with Drew, I'm going to go Kyle Richards all the way.
I'm
Music
gonna go
video.
Sheree.
Sheree?
I'm
I'll
gonna go
go for
Sheree.
Rob, the Throb. I want her to leave that marriage. I want to support a fellow LGBTQ person, so I'll go for Rob, the Throb.
Joint win, Drew and Rob, and not a double win. My goodness. Uh, and while y'all put your answers in for that, get ready for Best Stunt Queen. Best Stunt Queen. Now, for Best Stunt Queen, we've got some really special people in our first category. Netta and Charles for being YouTube's new Kardashian family. Because we
What?
don't know what they do, but they're everywhere and they're making money. So, baby, get your check. If all you got to say is, Charles, your lunch is ready, is that all I had to say? I'm the idiot. No, I'm the idiot. I'm the idiot. I didn't know. That's all I had to say. Wait, hold on. Let me try it. Bronx, your lunch is ready. I'm going to start cooking for his ass. Shit. I'm sorry. Y'all got to the MONEY. Y'all got to the subs. Y'all got to the fans. Y'all got to the cash. Stunt Queen, honey. Then we have Todrick Hall for being himself. And Tekashi 6ix9ine for pretending to rap. Now, our honorary award tonight goes out, our honorary Richard Simmons Award. Our Richard Simmons Award goes to a very special sissy. This award is dedicated to Tyler Perry for always being able to run from the truth. That's why you received this year's Richard Simmons Award. But now let's get to the nominees for our Sorry Sissy of 2024 award. Now, our nominees are Al H.R. Reynolds for fucking up the church's money, Jason Lee for that tired award show, Carl Hank for everything, and Billy always wanted to be a porter for being a masculine mammy, and the great white hole for no hope. Those are the nominees for our Sorry Sissy Awards. Shut up! Shut up! Ain't no We're going to tally up the comments and see who this year's winners are. I mean, we've got so many nominees, so many. Sorry, sissies. On Pride. Well, it's a day that we have to acknowledge the community. So I figured we would acknowledge some people that are normally overlooked.
My birthday
vote for Al.
on Friday.
I vote for Al because this stunt of this situation may have just tanked the show. So, as far as stunts go, I vote for Al.
I'm voting for Miss Netta and Charles. I love their show. I love how Charles be eating the food. It's just so cute to watch. I'll vote for them. They're so nice.
I'm not going to cast my vote because that would be messy. I'm going to let the audience decide. I am going to let the audience decide. I think that would be most apropos. I think I'm going to start asking messy questions but not answering them. So I can say, I just asked. All right. Oh, Lord. Oh, I just realized there's a Wendy's not that far from my house. Well, on that note, I would like to close this live out. But everybody, where can they find you online?
Everybody, you can find me on Instagram. It's psychic_ELB. It's Erin, aka Psychic E. If you'd like to get a psychic reading, just let me know that you're a Biffa that Alex sent you, and you can get a friends and family discount. And you can also check me on Ray Ray All Day's YouTube channel, where we are currently reviewing all RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars.
Well, I'm not really online, but you could find me on Instagram and Facebook under Beantown.
Well, Rish, and where can they find you?
Oh, I'm so sorry. My internet's coming. Well, you'll find me in the comments section. I'm always on Alex's channel and Chris's channel. I'm always on their Patreon too. So you guys will find me there. And thank you so much, Biffas. Have a great Pride. And I hope everyone has like a great time tomorrow.
All righty. See y'all soon.